Today's video is sponsored by Ridge.
Welcome back, I'm Tedward and welcome to the GMC Hummer EV pickup truck in the Edition 1 trim. It has 1,000 horsepower and it's all electric. And even though this 9,000 pound behemoth is the most recklessly overkill thing you could possibly need for American roads, I find it so incredibly charming and fun to live with. Now, I've already done a road trip in it. We did about a 300 or 400 mile road trip, and you like it?
It's amazing how they took a vehicle that had the reputation of being a gas.
And just like that, I'm always being bombarded with people asking about the car. People seem to love it. Even people who are like kind of the environmentally friendly folks are like, wow, you know, that is pretty fun. So let me show you what I really like about this truck. First of all, I think its appearance is just tops. And speaking of tops, these all pop out. So if you come into the truck, you can basically make this into a convertible because all of these just pop right out. And then you can store them up front, which is great. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to take me like, you know, a little bit of time. This is not just like some simple hit a button and boom, you're a convertible. You got to commit to this and you got to make sure that you're not going to get anything stolen out of your truck along the way. There we go. Okay. So you got to work at it just a little bit. It's not that bad. And, you know, compared to a Jeep, for example, that has a similar system, it's not much different. Ugh. Okay, that brings me to an annoyance about this car, is that sometimes some of the buttons and just some of those little things, they just don't give you exactly what you want when you want them. Build quality wise, this is a little interesting. This kind of feels like it's been dremeled or something. So, you know, I do think it'll hold up well and it's probably fine, but, you know, if you look at this, some of these lines, they're just not very straight. And I'm being really, really particular and picky about that, but I figure it's worth pointing out. But in the back seat, you get tons of space. You've got USB-C, USB, and you have climate controls and heated seats. So that's nice. It's not a bad place to spend some time. You also get, like you did in the Silverado, these little cubbies back here and some cup holders. Good deal. So you can take, you know, 5 people and do your thing, including yourself. Now, this being the pickup truck version, of course, you have your tailgate. And then if we press this guy, we've got our step, which is nice because, look, I don't have the greatest knees and it's pretty nice to be able to just jump up there without having to climb too hard. But the coolest thing on this is that you've got a kicker sound system on the tailgate, which means that tailgating is literally going to be very easy, very cool, and you'll be good to go. You've got space for your little cups and everything. It's just built in to be your cool lifestyle vehicle. Electric tonneau cover. And it works, unlike the one on the Rivian that I drove. The electric tonneau cover straight up did not work on that. So I've got to give GMC props. At least this one functions. With 2 clicks of this, our frunk opens up to reveal a not so giant storage space, but it is usable. And these bags are used to store those roof panels, so you're not gonna have to worry about scratching them up. But, you know, it's just extra steps. So if you're in a place where you're able to kind of spend the day with the roof off and it's not pollen season like it is out here, because this truck would be literally coated every inch of the interior in pollen if I were to do that today. Yeah, not great. But in other environments, I think you'll have a good time. You've got windshield washer fluid up here, although for some reason the motor, the pump on this is not working right now, so I cannot actually spray windshield washer fluid on it. We've got these giant steps and rocker guards, which I genuinely appreciate, not just to help protect the truck, but I would imagine that there is a large battery stored underneath here. So a huge rock slamming into this and damaging that battery, that is an expensive day. That's not what you want to do. So I'm glad that they've added some monster protection there. up front, man, this is just kind of nice. It's really livable. It is a Hummer, you know, it's definitely a distance to my passenger, but we have a usable center console. We don't have, like in the H1, basically a giant space of nothingness in a tiny cramped compartment for your passenger. You actually have some space over there. It's not a bad place to be. And they've done an incredible job with the interior, making it look very special. This does not look like a Suburban. It does not look like a Yukon. It does not look like a Colorado, a Sierra, whatever. It is very its own thing. You know, it looks like there's a giant H across the whole front dash, which is cool. They put little H's everywhere. If you'd like to play the Easter egg game and find all of them, be my guest. I'm not going to do that. But let's get it started, take it for a drive, make a crab walk, and do a launch.
Shopping for your dad can be nearly impossible. He already has everything he needs, except it's time to get him out of that giant wallet in his back pocket. Ridge is making it easy with one of their biggest sales of the year for Father's Day. And don't worry, the Ridge wallet can still hold up to 12 cards plus cash, and you can get a matching key case that'll hold up to 6 keys. No more jingling dad walking down the street. So find the best Father's Day gift using my link, ridge.com/Tedward, and right now you can save up to 40% through June 15th. That's ridge.com/Tedward.
We've of course got wireless charging, but you would have additional USB and USB-C over here. To start it, foot on the brake, power button. Pretty uneventful. Not a whole lot happens because it's electric. You're just turning it on. I just put a little extra juice in the battery because I'm returning it tomorrow, and that's a bummer, and I try to give them at least something to work with, so they've got a little over 150 miles to play with, and we're not going to put many on it right now. Into drive, but first, let's line up and do a little crab walk in this thing, because I think one of the most impressive things about this vehicle is the rear steering. Now check this out. Look at the angle on that rear wheel. It's pretty outrageous, and this is so insanely maneuverable. Look at this. You can pretty much pull off a U-turn anywhere in your Hummer EV. This is more maneuverable in terms of like 3-point turns than my Honda Civic Type R. I don't think the S-Class with its like 10-degree rear steer is even this good. It's pretty ridiculous, and maybe they're on par. Maybe I'm just being facetious here, overkill, but still, it's outrageous. So let's then put it into crab walk mode. So we can hit this button here, which controls all of our steering inputs for the rear wheels. We can hold it, and now it's in crab walk mode. We get a fun display. And boom, rear steering, crab walk. It puts the cameras up, and this will steer both the front and rear wheels in the same direction. So you can basically just like glide across, which is the craziest sensation. I don't really know any other vehicles that do this. And yes, sure, it's a little gimmicky, but it's cool and it works, and everybody loves it. All right, so we can stop that, bring you back to auto rear steer, and we are back in action. Now, I told you the maneuverability of this thing is fantastic, and that is important because it's such a large vehicle, and it can be intimidating to drive a giant truck when you feel like, ooh, I'm gonna have to like really plan out my turns. But look at that. It swings the rear so well, and it feels like in the pickup truck, it's almost more pronounced than the SUV. That could be a tuning thing. It could just be my imagination or my recollection. But I've gotta say, I am genuinely impressed with the rear steer on this vehicle. Under braking. This is where I really love having an electric car or a hybrid, is because you get to recuperate the energy. And this weighs 9,000 pounds, and this is one of those rare times when super duper heavy vehicles are benefiting you in a strange way. Because yes, of course it's taking a lot of energy to get off the line, but when you're coasting in this thing, it's regen braking to hold your speed or slow you down. That means you get 9,000 pounds of momentum to start putting juice back in that battery. That is so cool. Now, the normal Hummer has 830 horsepower. And I believe unless you're in watts to freedom mode, which is the launch control, yeah, run that red light Prius. See, I'm going to recoup the energy. Look, I know the laws of thermodynamics. I know that's not actually benefiting me in the long run, but at the moment it's kind of fun. It also means that because this thing is so heavy, you're probably not going to be wasting the brakes, because you're going to be able to get everything you need from the regen. Let's see if we can get around this truck, because I do not want to get stuck behind him on an on-ramp. Instant torque into the regen. Starting to plow a little bit. Those tires giving us some auditory feedback, which is really helpful. We're gonna run out this merge. And boom, you're on the highway. We're already going too fast, so I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. And that's the thing, this thing is just a complete rocket, and that means you do need to be somewhat cognitively aware of your speed, especially on corner entries, because it's big. It's really big, and these are not like racing tires. These are like all-terrain mud boggin tires or something. So they're not gonna give you like insane grip, even though you have insane acceleration. It's something to be very hyper aware of in pretty much any electric car, but especially in this. So why do I like this? I shouldn't like this. This is a vehicle that I should be condemning for its weight, for its ridiculousness, but I think it is entertaining. I think it brings something new to the table. I think it really pushes the boundaries of how we see electric cars today. Sure, it's big, it's inefficient. I'm getting 1.6 miles per kilowatt hour over the past 400 miles. That's like, less than half of what you would get in any other normal electric car. But if we want to electrify vehicles in the future, we need more than just sedans and RAV4s. We need like everything. If you want an electric future, guys, it's got to be everything. And I think this is kind of a test bed for that. The next generation of Yukons and Tahoes and Suburbans, they're gonna have probably an electric future. And this is proving out that, hey, can it be done? On a full charge, this is 329 miles. That is not nothing. I did a road trip in it. I just had to charge on my way back up. That was it. I went to New York and back from Boston. Very simple, really easy, and luckily the Electrify America networks worked for me. Now, they're not the most robust and incredible systems out there. Tesla definitely takes the cake when it comes to reliable charging, but it worked. I did it. It was fine. I had no problems. And yeah, it's not the most convenient thing to have to stop for 40 or 50 minutes to charge, but if you are charging at your house, most of your day-to-day, most of your normal useful driving, you'll never, ever have to think about it. On the highway, I have Super Cruise. I have adaptive cruise control. I can put this on. Now I have hands-free driving. Yes, I am allowed, technically, to put my hands on my knees and just let it do its thing. Super Cruise is phenomenal. It will do auto lane changes for me, and it will warn me before it does it. So let's see if it does that there it goes, auto lane change. I'm gonna check. We're good to go. I've touched nothing. It has engaged my blinker. It's told me what it wants to do, and it's brought me here. That's pretty darn cool. Now, it doesn't always function on every road. Super Cruise is only available in certain sections of certain roads, but most sections of most roads that you're going to drive on major interstates are going to work. Now, sometimes it does just stop. It'll, blink red, and it will start slowing you down. That's a little bit alarming and it's frustrating, but I only noticed it when I was on my road trip, and that was the only time that it was really annoying me. But the fact that I have the ability to save some of my energy by allowing the truck to do its own thing, it makes road tripping so much easier. I can also tell it to do a lane change just by putting the blinker on and bringing me back. Pretty wonderful stuff. There's, of course, some road noise. I mean, we're on giant tires with 8 lug wheels. We've got a flat front, so this cannot be the most, drag efficient vehicle on the road, but what do you expect? You bought a Hummer, man. You're not getting some slippery thing. So I'm gonna kill Super Cruise, kill that, disengaging, great, thank you. I'm gonna jump off the highway, I'm gonna regen on my way back down. We're gonna go onto some more normal back roads. We'll go ahead and do a launch control if we can find some space, because we'll do 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. 3 seconds, it's so bananas. Can't believe it. When I first got in one of these, the size of it was just so alarming. I was driving the SUV in San Francisco, narrow roads, pretty nerve-wracking. I'm so used to this at this point. Like, I actually think this is easier to drive than the Silverado. I think I have better visibility over the hood than the Silverado. And if you were to ask me, like, which would I rather live with for a while, I'd choose this. I would choose this over a Silverado ZR2, which is a crazy thing to think, but it's true. I like it more. And I haven't found anyone that hates it. Like, anytime you bring up some outrageous car, especially when it's giant, it's a big truck, like, you're gonna get some haters, but like, I really don't know anybody that's really hating on it to my face. Of course, in the comment section, you guys will be relentless. The haters are always loud and clear. And I get it. I agree with everything. All the hate that comes to this vehicle, like, I fully agree with, because it is too big. It is too powerful. It is ridiculous. But those are also the reasons that I find it charming and fun. I'm gonna wait for a little bit of runway so we can do a launch. So to launch the car, you gotta put it into Watts to Freedom mode, WTF mode. 2 clicks of the traction control, the vehicle will lower, and this takes a second. This isn't an instantaneous thing. The air suspension in this is phenomenal for ride quality, but it is not like an Audi S8 where it just jumps up and down. It does take a second. So as we're waiting for it to go in, we just now we're armed. Watts to Freedom mode armed. My goodness, do they know their target audience? This is great. I've got a little bit of space. No one's behind me. And then we can press hard on this brake. It'll tell me to brake harder, floor it, let go. And there you have it. How outrageous is that? It's basically spinning all 4 tires. This thing is a torque monster. And they gave it the ability to do some just silly party tricks. But for once, I feel like the party tricks are really part of the package. That's so crazy. It shows the torque that we were getting up there. Oh, I love it. I think this is just so crazy. It's so crazy that I love it. And it's easy to drive. It's easy in traffic. I actually genuinely like this thing in traffic, because electric cars are better in traffic. They just friggin' function. It's fantastic. Go back to normal mode and no one's the wiser. We're just cruising along in our big giant Hummer. So I hope this helps give you a little better impression of what it's like to drive the Hummer EV, what it's capable of, and why it's cool. There's so many things going against it on paper. Like, it's too heavy, it's too big, it's an electric car, it's electric. Like, most people don't, we're in a world where, like, motorheads are very anti batteries, But for whatever reason, it is so charming, and it is so much more than the sum of its parts, and it is an enjoyable thing to operate. I have so much fun in it, and I hope you go and watch my EV road trip, because, yeah, everybody you've seen drive this thing has basically just gone off-roading, launch controls, crab walk, what we did today. Nothing crazy, but can you use it? And that is the biggest question. So, thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one. GMC, feel free to just send this to my house anytime. I am smitten with this thing. And we love a double wiper Camry wagon. Yeah, boy! That's the stuff.